It is a scam when you don't allow everyone to operate on fair terms.
We are the Robin Hoods of sports betting. We take something back from the rich bookies and enable our customers to beat them instead.
G'day everyone, welcome to episode 99 of the TradeMate Sports Betting Podcast, a betting preview of this weekend's Premier League. We're going to go through the Carabao Cup final also between Tottenham and City, and going to have a quick look at the Bundesliga, a rare live show, gents, which should be quite pleasant for once. Firstly, I'll introduce card betting expert and the man who's full of stats, George Gamble. Two out of 3 last week, mate. Just another nice little solid performance once again.
Yeah, no, it was decent. All about the consistency. I'm trying to remember which is the one that lost. Actually, I can't remember. But
I think it was the Madrid game, maybe.
Oh,
Madrid
that was quite close as well.
Something.
Well, I mean, they did. It was, in my opinion, it was a perfectly legitimate goal that was then ruled out for offside.
Right.
But again, it was literally, I can't remember which player it was, but if he didn't have a little toe, he'd have been onside. Put it that way. So yeah, slightly unlucky on that one. Obviously, I don't think they picked up that second card either, but there was plenty of opportunities for it. But 2 out of 3, I'll take that moving into this week.
Nicely. And Nigel Seeley from Premier Sports Players always joins us as always. How'd you go last week, mate?
Listen, I've got to go. My cleaner's just arrived. She's actually, I promise you, the cleaner has actually just arrived. In a minute, you're going to hear the doorbell ring. I was hoping she was going to arrive just as you asked me how I. The trouble is, I tell you how badly I did last week. I've got to give her the sack in about 10 minutes. she's gonna be fired in 10 minutes after the performance of last week. Actually, I went obviously with you guys. I gave 2 tips and 2 of them lost, which was here she is arriving at the door. So 2 tips, 2 losers. But I said to you on there, I gave 6 bets on Premier Sports Plays and the Europe Football League, and 5 won and 1 lost, and the only one that I gave you was the one that lost. So unfortunately, it was a bad week. But I've just got to break the. Here she is. She's at the door. I've just got to go and break the news. She's been fired after Borussia and Gladbach won 4-0 last week. If you hear any tears, it's the cleaner. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Oh my word!
He's got no money left, mate. He's got no money left.
He's brassic after that.
Yeah. He's a funny one, though, isn't he? He was telling us off air for everyone listening that it was actually 8 that he gave out on Premier Sports Plays and 7 won, but now he's detracted a little bit down to 5 out of 6. So I smell...
It's always the way, though. It's always the way.
If anyone out there is listening in right now, if you could just send a quick message if you are a subscriber of Premier Sports Plays and you can confirm this, because I'm calling bullshit.
Hello, what was that?
Nothing, mate. Nothing at all. All right, let's.
I heard about bullshit. What was that?
Alex going off on one.
Well, I was just saying, if anyone is live and a member of Premier Sports Plays,
wait, I'll tell you the truth. Yeah, this is. I'll tell you this is. Let me just quickly give you a thing. Right, this is last week. Okay, I give you all the bets I gave last week in the football. It takes 2 seconds, so I'm not winding you up. Okay, last weekend. Charlton to beat Ipswich, plus 115, lost. Oxford to beat Gillingham, at plus 110, 210, sorry, they won. Wimbledon to beat Swindon, plus 220, they won. Birmingham off levels on the Asian handicap at 1.9, they won. Wolves to beat Sheffield United at 1.8, they won. Leyton Orient off on the Asian handicap against Barrow at 1.8, they won. And Wigan off levels on the Asian handicap against Crewe at 1.9, they won. They were the bets, and the only one I gave that lost was the only one I gave you. That's the truth. But the season's been crap.
See what, Alex? You stand corrected, son.
Oh, sorry. I did Nigel. I just fell asleep. It's got a little bit bored.
Have you escaped from jail? I know you're Australian to the convicts. Is that have you got a ball and chain? Have you got a ball and chain tied to your leg underneath the desk or something?
Yeah,
with a swag bag somewhere.
Yeah, a swag bag.
All right, let's move ahead. Quiz question of the week is which name has the League Cup not been known as? So it's obviously called the Carabao Cup at the moment. What name has it not been referred to as before? And I've got some options for you. Actually, I'll just get to them at the end because I don't want anyone to spoil this quiz question because I think it's one of my best. All right, we'll kick things off. Carabao Cup. One of your favourite teams here, Man City, George, is playing in this one. I'll just get the odds up on my screen. Sorry, I'm a bit slow today. So you got Man City, best odds about 1.55, draw 4.75, and Tottenham you can get as high as 6.5 at a few bookmakers there. Man City have lost 2 out of their last 3 games, but as we know, they have won the last 3 League Cups. Quite a impressive record there. And Tottenham, I didn't realise that they played overnight, but so they've played 1 game since Mourinho's sacking. So I was going to ask originally, Nigel, I was going to ask if you think what kind of effect you might think this will have on the team, the sacking of Mourinho at what seemed like quite a strange time to do it.
Oh, well, I think there was a couple of the reasons. There was obviously this talk that he was getting paid more money per league position. They finished in the end of the season with the leaked call from conversation with Jamie Redknapp. I think player power ultimately got him the sack, and I think Gareth Bale being put straight back into the team last night and he wasn't playing Gareth Bale shows that Bale's influence or the fact they didn't play Bale was a negative for him. Dele Alli may feature in this game, which is another player that Mourinho has fallen out with, and it's whether the team can come out and show. Clearly, they've been underperforming from what the players they have. I mean, I wouldn't rate them a Super League, European Super League side, top 15 sides in European football, but they are a lot better than individually as a team than where they're performing in the league. I think the big thing for Tottenham and the big thing for anyone contemplating them of betting them, I mean, they've beaten Man City in very, very big, high-profile games before when nobody give them a chance in the Champions League. And I think the big thing for Tottenham is whether Harry Kane plays. I mean, that's obviously the key. If Harry Kane can play a part in the game, then I think they've got a huge chance of getting something. I wouldn't bet them because I think if it comes down to a tactical battle between Pep Guardiola and Ryan Mason, there's only one winner of that one, and so for that reason. But I don't think Man City offer very much value at all when you consider they have a Champions League semi-final as well coming up against Paris Saint-Germain, which is absolutely massive for them. I mean, that is to get to the Champions League final at the expense of losing the Carabao Cup. They would take that all day long. So, in my opinion, I think the way the two sides are set up, and the fact that this is Tottenham season, and the fact that I think they will put in a performance. I don't think it'll be good enough to win. I would expect to see goals. So I don't have really. I mean, I always say when you get to a cup final, or you get to a final of a tennis tournament, how wrong can the bookies be? How wrong can you be about if you've made ricks on the Carabao Cup final between Man City v Tottenham and you're an odds compiler in this country or any country, you need to be fired from your job because it's not acceptable. And in tennis, you get Roger Federer plays Novak Djokovic in the final of Wimbledon. How wrong can you be? So I don't think there's always much value in finals. But if I was looking to have a bet on it, I think I'd probably bet both teams to score as a yes, because I think that Tottenham will be a little bit more attacking without Mourinho. Defensively, they won't be as strong because he does have a tactic to stop a better attacking to playing. And I think we may see a decent game at Wembley. So I'd have a slight lean for both teams to score yes.
All right. I'll get up the odds for that. But yeah, I will apologise. I did say City have lost 2 of their last 3 games, but as I said before, I forgot that they were playing last night. So I didn't factor that into those stats with that victory over Aston Villa. But George, they haven't been that flash, have they, ever since the international break? Can you put that down to anything, mate, and why that might be?
I think it's a mixture of things, really. But obviously, as a City fan, I'm kind of looking at this one that I won't be having to play on it simply because there's so many different variables for me. But so it'll be a watching one. I think the fact that there's been so many fixtures piled up, like you look now, we're getting to the back end of the season. We've got so many. We've got one important game after another, and it does take it out of the players. And these kind of big profile, you've got trophies on the line. Obviously, this is what Pep's been brought in to do. He's been brought in to win trophies. But as Nigel's already alluded to, the Champions League is the one, and I'm sure they'd happily. It doesn't matter what they say. They're going to say, no, this is our game. It's to the trophy. We want to win this one. They would sacrifice it, like that, if it meant getting to the Champions League final. I was watching a bit of the Tottenham game last night, and it was interesting just purely out of curiosity, just to see kind of how Ryan Mason would do, see how the players responded. Because I saw plenty of reports that the Tottenham camp was somewhat divided with Mourinho. You had some that didn't really care, some that absolutely despised him, and then some that actually quite liked him. But the main complaint.
Story of my life, that.
You're not the only one, but yeah, and there was plenty of reports about that, and the fact with their training, they're Tottenham, they've had a philosophy under Pochettino and the way they played, got to a Champions League final fortuitously under Pochettino, but they're meant to be one of the biggest and best teams in the league, and they were getting frustrated with how defensive, even in training, they weren't trying to make a pattern of play. They weren't trying to look at their opponents to see how can we exploit them. It was always from a defensive viewpoint of what have we counteracted. They were always reactive to who they were playing on any particular day rather than proactive in the way that they wanted to play. And I think you could see last night some of the Spurs players immediately, Bale as an example, already looked much happier. But yeah, and I agree with Nigel in that I don't think there's much value with City, simply because I think, like I said, Spurs are looking happier. City have got a lot of big games coming up. We've got a cracking record at Wembley. I know obviously we lost against Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final recently, but in finals we do have a brilliant record. So yeah, there's just nothing about that price that looks generous to me to pick a kind of win result. So goals or both teams to score, similar to Nigel, I'd have to sort of lean towards there.
Sorry, I muted myself. I think you've.
I wish I had that button.
I think you've moved the market, Nige. There's just been a flood of money come down on yes for both teams to score, mate. Are
you serious?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just seeing the
I
greens.
thought you was going to say. I think you've moved the market, Nige. It's been a flood of money come down for no.
Actually, wait. Green does green mean it's going against?
It's gone against. It's getting bigger. No, but
Sorry, I got it the wrong way around.
No, you got it the wrong way around. No. It's
what is it you say, Nige? Don't be a moron.
Listen, look at Man City. They conceded last night against Aston Villa. You got if Kane plays, Son and Bale as a front three, they will cause problems for Man City because Man City may rest Diaz with you've got Paris Saint-Germain in midweek.
He's already said he's starting Zach Steffen. John Stones is now suspended for it, so he's got to decide. We've got PSG in the week, so you've got to decide: does he really want to play Diaz and Laporte?
Exactly.
A few days before a massive game against PSG, chances are no. So you might even see Eric Garcia come into the fold, and then all of a sudden you've got that weakened back line against, as Nige said, the likes of Bale, Kane, and Son. So,
We're waiting for lineups, hey, and we think there's going to be goals. I'm assuming that's the way we want to end this one.
Yep.
All right, let's go to you, Nigel, for your first pick of the day, mate. Leeds versus Manchester United.
Yeah, I think this is. I look, like I say, I'm not trying to make excuses or anything like that, but I've actually looked through the English leagues this morning and I found it really, really hard. In the lower leagues, a lot of teams with nothing to play for, a lot of teams with huge amounts to play for, and the prices have been taken into significance of the teams that need points and the teams that don't need points. So I think it's a really, really tricky card. It's also a time of year where you get quite strange-ish results. A lot of shock winners come around this time of season. I think if you bet every favourite blind in the Football League and in the Premier League in the next few weeks, I think you would lose money. Let's start off with Manchester United, though. Manchester United, obviously, I think they've got second place sewn up. They're 10 points clear of third. They're not going to get. They got Man City going to win the title, and they are going to finish runners up this season. But again, going back to the point I made for the cup final, they have a massive match on Thursday night against Roma in the Europa League, and that is a huge game for them. It's their only chance of winning some silverware this season, and I think they look quite vulnerable favourites here. I can go through all the stats on Manchester United and how good they've been and how many goals, and they've lost the same amount of games as Manchester City this season, but I still not 1,000,000% convinced by them. I'm still not, even though they're second. I'm not one. That's just purely my perspective, and I think Leeds are relishing this opportunity of playing the big boys. I think they were brilliant against Manchester City. They did the ultimate smash and grab job. Their goal XG in that game was very low, and they steal 2 goals against with 10 men, and showed they can mix it up and work. Their work rate is phenomenal. Bielsa loves playing against the big boys. Absolutely loves it. That's what he wants to do week in and week out. And then last time out against Liverpool, I thought the second half they were absolutely brilliant. They should have beaten Liverpool easy. Liverpool were there for the taking. They hit the bar just in the first half. Bamford missed a great one-on-one opportunity. His first touch took it away from him. They got a goal XG of 2.77 against Liverpool, and I think if they play anywhere near that capability, which I think they can, and given the fact they thrive playing the big boys, I know they got beat by Man United 3-0 earlier in the season in the second game back in the Premier League. But I think they're really pumped Leeds to finish in the top half of the table in their first year back. And I think I give them a chance. And I think the timing with Roma on Thursday, like I say, it's a very tricky set of fixtures, but I'm going to bet Leeds plus a half a goal and get the draw and Leeds on my side and take Man United on, because Man United will be quite happy with a draw. It cements them into second place, and they go into it's all about getting players fit and well for the match against Roma on Thursday. So Leeds plus a half.
All right, I'll get the odds.
2.04. 2.04, I think.
Yeah, on Bet365, and I don't think you can get much better than that from what I'm seeing. So, yeah, there we go. Love it. Anyone that opposes Manchester United makes me happy. So, how about you, George? You gonna go to another game in the Premier League? Aston Villa versus West Brom.
Yeah, it's a fixture that I always kind of look forward to. As I've said to you before, two of my best mates, one of them's Villa, one of them's West Brom, and it's always fireworks if we're watching that one. It's absolutely brilliant to watch from a sort of a neutral perspective. But yeah, I think everyone calls me mental, but I still think West Brom have got the slightest of chance of doing it. And I've watched them in recent weeks. They've played some good football at times, sort of incisive football, create openings, which is weird to say for a Sam Allardyce team. But they're going to Aston Villa, and obviously, like I said, Aston Villa. I know West Brom played tonight. Aston Villa played against City last night with Matty Cash in a red card, and they looked good in the opening sort of 10 minutes. But I'd say they looked a bit leggy, in my opinion, and I don't really think they've got that much to play for. I'd say Europe's probably a bit of a stretch for them. And West Brom are hitting a real sort of run of form in terms of the way they're playing. And I'm expecting a really interesting derby here. And looking at the stats, Aston Villa, from a Cards perspective, Aston Villa have seen at least a card in 13 out of 14 home games this season. West Brom's opponents, when playing away, have seen at least a card in 13 out of 15 and 2 or more in 10 out of 15. West Brom, they've won their last 2 games. They've scored 8 goals and conceded 2. Admittedly, one of those obviously against Chelsea. You can argue it's a bit lopsided in that Chelsea had that man sent off. But, West Brom still capitalised on that and still managed to put 5 past them. And Villa have lost 8 of their 16 games since the start of the year. But they did win their last home game versus Fulham. So, Villa have been a bit dodgy of late. Now, the referee's Stuart Atwell. I'm sure, obviously, I've already mentioned him on previous podcasts. He's got the second highest cards per game average in the Premier League with around 3.74 per game. And he's officiated Villa twice this season and showed them at least a card in both of them. He also showed three against Fulham as well. This exact bet that I'm going to pick landed in the reverse fixture. That was when Martin Atkinson was a referee. He's just torrid for cards. He's got about a 2.3 average. He's one I'll try and avoid as well, but it still landed despite him being in charge. And I still think, West Brom got a small chance of performing that great escape, but they need wins. And they've been showing lately, they're prepared for that fight and they want to get points on the board. They haven't sort of resigned themselves to defeat and to going down. They still want to kind of battle it until the end. So my favourite one for this is for Villa to see over 1.5 team cards, and you can get that at 10 to 11 or 1.91. And I'd have that more around 4 to 5 to 1.8 personally. I think Villa are going to rack up a couple of cards here against a West Brom team that are still going to try and do everything that they can to stay up.
All right. Love it, mate. Good start. Why don't we move along to Nigel, mate? Keeping us in the Premier League. How good is this? 3 games in a row for your Premier League lovers. Liverpool versus Newcastle.
Yeah, I give Newcastle a chance here. I really do. I might be a bit mad of it, but I'm going to bet him at 12 to 1 to win the match as well. Liverpool, they're just not the same recently. I mean, that stat which came out the other day, they've had 129 shots at Anfield in 2021 and scored 3 goals. That's a big problem for any team, whether you're Liverpool, whether you're any team in the European football, anyone team in the world football. That is not a high conversion rate. I don't think this all is well in the camp with Mo Salah. There's rumours that he might be leaving it in the summer, and Klopp left him out in the game against Leeds. He come on as sub. He hasn't really been looking at the same player in the last 6 weeks, despite being the second top goal scorer in the Premier League. And I think that they're worth taking on. If you look at their record, I think since the 27th of December, I think it was, they drew 1-1 with West Brom. Newcastle home played 11. Liverpool played 11 at home, 1-2, drawn 6. Sorry, lost 6 and drawn 3, and they failed to score in 6 of those matches. Now they haven't beaten Fulham at home, they haven't beat Brighton at home, they haven't beaten Burnley at home, they haven't beaten West Brom at home in that period of time. And now Newcastle are going there, who for the first time this season are playing without any fear, because they're safe. They're not the same Newcastle side that we saw 7 weeks ago, who were scared of their own shadow and they were just trying to get 0-0s and stay up. Their best players are back. Almiron is back. Sam Maximin is back. Callum Wilson will probably start in this game. And when they have them in their side, they're a completely different side. Their goal XG against Tottenham was 3.86 for a Newcastle side to have a goal XG of 3.86. And then in their 2 last couple of games, which they've scored at least 2 goals in every one of their last 3 games. I think they're unbeaten only lost 1 in 7. They've got a higher XG, more than 2 in every single game they played, which just shows you that they've really changed the way they play, and they're playing without any fear. And I think going to Liverpool, who I still believe will be rocking from the news of the Super League. I still think there's tensions between the fans and the owners. I think Klopp didn't look a happy man. I don't think that's going to change quickly. I think he felt like he was let down by the owners. And this could go one of two ways, in my opinion. This could go a way there where Liverpool could come on and put on a show and win 3 or 4-0, or they could really struggle. And everyone's been waiting for Liverpool to put on a show all season and show the form from last season. Well, it hasn't happened yet. We've only got 6 or 7 games to go in the season. In 22 matches this season at home, Liverpool have only won by more than 2 goals in 5 of them. And I think getting Newcastle plus 1.5 goal here at 2.1. So as long as Liverpool don't win by 2 or more goals, I think that's a great bet, really. Myself, I think that's I think Newcastle are more than capable of scoring against that side, and the amount of shutouts that Liverpool have had, and the confidence that their second half performance against Leeds was terrible, and I feel that plus 1.5 goals, I'm going to take Newcastle here at 2.1.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I am just seeing if I can find anything better. 2.1, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get 2.14 at Unibet if you've got an account there. That's the only better place that I've found to get those odds or better. So, Yeah, I was going to ask because I saw you tweet about that, Nigel, about how Klopp's odds went from like 40-1 to 3-1 or something like that to be the next manager to leave. Was that just purely on the back of the Super League announcement and him being disappointed by? Was there anything more to it?
No, that's the only reason he will go. I mean, the trouble is, I think he wanted to say a lot more about it in the press conference after the game, and I think he was biting his tongue of what he could and what he couldn't say. I felt that he was a proud man, and I felt if he believed that the only way what happened was everybody made the move for him, but I think a lot of pressure would have been on him to make a stand because of what he stands for and who he is as an individual. And I think if he felt it was right, totally right, totally not wrong to join the European Super League, I would have felt that he may have said, okay, well, I've had enough. There's jobs going. There's Bayern Munich job up for grabs. There's the German national team. They could have a rethink and take Klopp on if he wanted. There's a lot of people who will take him on. And that was why I thought he may go. But the thing is with the Super League, I mean, they'll do it again in 10 years and get the structure right, and it'll go through because the generation of people who care so much about the history will be gone. So the timing of it wasn't right, and the way it was put together was put together just shoddily with no thought process. But I think eventually it will happen. But I just don't think the timing was right. But with this game, an example, I still feel that there's a lot of anger towards the owners of Liverpool, and I've seen Liverpool football teams in years where the previous owners had problems with the anger, and it really had an effect on the performances on the pitch. And I still think there'd be protests. I think what J.W. Henry did as in his press conference was a joke, really, to be fair, and in his press statement. So I think that tension may come through on the players, and I don't think they will be they'd be at it as much as they are. And they're playing a very, very confident and a very, very informed Newcastle side who are more than capable of scoring against them. And we just know that all isn't well at Anfield. And so, yeah, I think it's a good time to play them with what's gone on off the pitch and also what we've seen on the pitch in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
I think Manchester City have just about been the only team that have won since the news broke. Is that true?
I was thinking this yesterday. Yeah. Just looking at it. Well, no, obviously Spurs have won.
Tottenham won last night.
Oh yeah, true.
Couple of Italian teams won last night, didn't they? Juventus, I think, won 3-1.
Yeah, Juventus.
The thing was, to be fair, Liverpool, Manchester United, they deserve to be quoted in the top echelons of world football for what they've done. But to be fair, Tottenham, it's just what out there. It's just like, you get that mate who just tags along with you everywhere you go and you just want him to piss off. That's what Tottenham were. I'll come.
I saw a brilliant tweet. I saw a brilliant tweet, and it was basically saying Spurs being part of the Super League is like going to the Crucible and sticking 50p on the table. What are they even doing?
Yeah. But I mean, that was just crazy. And the thing is, I mean, with Arsenal, for example, I mean, I'm a lot older than you guys, obviously. And I mean, when I was a kid growing up in London, in North London, there was a lot of Arsenal fans, but everyone wanted to be a Liverpool fan. And everyone was Liverpool fans. And in prior to my brother, everyone was Leeds fans. So, Arsenal come in sort of the end, and not my son's an Arsenal fan. But what grates me with them is that they furloughed all their staff. They made all the redundancies, and then at the same time they're having secret chats to join a £1 billion league. And I just think in any walk of life, I think that's scandalous. I just don't think that sits well with fans or people. And I think what they've done, their greed has ultimately cost them. And I'm delighted for it, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still planning protests on Friday for Arsenal Kroenke out and all that kind of stuff.
But the trouble is, if he goes, I
was just going to say we're playing on Friday night against Everton, so that could be very interesting to see how that all plays out.
But if they're all going to protest, but all these fans, what they don't realise is that the club's balance sheets aren't as attractive as what you're led to believe. The pandemic has hit them hard. So really, if you're going to make a change, you're going to make a change at the top and take away billionaires from you. Your performances on the pitch will suffer, eventually. So That's what you're to take. Is it a moral issue or a success issue? But the reason why these clubs have done it is because they've massively overspent prior to the pandemic. I mean, they've played players and they've gambled. They've effectively gambled on the stadium, on the players, and then a global pandemic's come in, and they've now think if we don't make Champions League the next year, like Man United have done and Tottenham have done, then they effectively could be in serious financial problems, and other clubs will overtake them and never going to get back. And that's the issue. What just because you've mucked up, and a club like Leeds or West Ham or an Aston Villa who are running along trying to emulate and dream what you've done, why be so take away what they've done? And that's the point, really. That's the point. But if you take away Kroenke, I mean, so anyone you're going to get in is going to be a billionaire. Anyone you're going to get in is a businessman, and a businessman at the end of the day is not about making money. And the businessman in 10 years' time, when the Super League comes up with a better structure and offers them, if they paid £1 billion for argument's sake for Arsenal, and they know they can get £2 billion back on a new Super League, any businessman's going to do the same because that's business.
Yeah. Oh, well, it'll be very, I mean, it's kind of inevitable, isn't it? It's all just going to rise its ugly head again, and we'll be back to these same conversations. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's not fun. It's not fun at all especially for you guys over in the UK, because for me, like the announcement, I was just happy that Arsenal were in the thing, because I was like, well, I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought there was a chance that they would just be completely missed out. But I'm, as an Australian and Americans out there too, like we're completely used to the whole no relegation, franchising, all this kind of stuff. So it's not like it's
and I think that's part of it, though. I think that's part of it, though, in that it kind of just highlights how sort of out of touch, these people own the clubs that these fans care so passionately about, yet they've not got the first clue about what it actually means to the people, if you see what I mean. So I think that's the reason this whole thing has been highlighted. They don't understand the tradition, don't understand where the clubs have come from. It just highlights the fact they see it as a money-making scheme, and they just want to make a quick buck and potentially it's more greed, basically. So when they want to make it a franchise where there is no relegation and there's no promotion, and basically keeping the elite, and you get maybe 5 that can come up from different places, it goes completely against what people love about competition, obviously, in this country. So it just highlights the disparity between the understanding of the game between the supporter and the owner, when it needs to be a lot closer.
I think they do agree. I think they do understand the history. I think they do, but I don't think they value it. That's the difference. I think they completely get it, because because they say all the right things in the media and they say the right things, but they don't think they value it in terms of monetary value. But at the end of the day, we're living in a world now, and it's absolutely right. I know we're probably digressing about this. If you want me to stop, Alex, I will go on to the next game. But if you want, but the thing is, we're watching football this season, and the Premier League this season and the English offering this season has been the biggest load of crap that I've seen as far as football watching on the telly. It's never more ever relevant to me that football and sport is desperate for fans. We're in a pandemic, and we need fans back in the stadium. We need to improve our game. Other leagues like Italy have gone. Their football's been brilliant this season without fans, but the English league has been absolutely rubbish. But the thing is, the football paying fan now is not important anymore. It's not a question of the guy who goes with his grandfather and the guy who goes with his son and pays £150 a year season ticket, or 200, wherever a club is £350 a season ticket, and goes to the game and travels 6 hours to watch his side away from home. That's not the important. The fan base is a worldwide fan base now. They want about the guys in Australia. They want the guys in Asia. They want the guys in Africa, because all they want is everybody to pay $2, $3 on their mobile phones to watch the game, and they control their rights. And that's where, because of the Premier League and because of soccer, we call it soccer, but football, it's a global product now, that the guy paying the money on the door is irrelevant to the future of that club. But in English level football, that guy paying the door is everything to them. And they're the ones I feel sorry for in the pandemic. The clubs in League 2, League 1, who are back to the wall because they can't get the 4,000 people in to pay their wages. Whereas these guys, they feel as they just go off and sell the soul. They get the money from all over the world and protect it for the expense of everybody else. But the difference is the fan, a football fan 20 years ago. If you had to describe a football fan, it was what I said to you about going to the games. Now it's not. It's the guy who pays the $9.99 to watch Amazon. It's the guy who pays the phone. Everybody's a football fan. Doesn't matter if you're at the game or around the world. And that's the difference. So a load of people in Asia have no real interest in Liverpool, Everton's 258-year history or whatever it is. They're worried about that. They see Liverpool, Real Madrid. Oh, I'll pay £3 to watch that. That's brilliant. And that's what will change. So when that history goes, we'll be left with a load of people who say, right, let's create it, and they'll structure it properly with relegation, 3 leagues up and down, and that will be how football goes. And eventually, League One, League Two, and lower leagues in this level will fall away, which will be a sad state, but it will happen.
Yeah. Mate, I'd love to talk about it all day, but we've got.
No, sorry, I apologise.
No, it's all good.
I would bet 10 on in 20 years that we have a Super League. 1 to 10.
Yeah, I think the odds would be probably pretty short on that. All right, George, mate, we're going to the Bundesliga, Wolfsburg and Dortmund.
Yes, we are. It's an absolutely huge game in Wolfsburg, actually. So Dortmund played last night. They had a very tough game, or what was seemingly before kickoff going to be a very tough game against a Union Berlin side. I think we've lost maybe 6 times all season. Very, very stern, very hard to beat. But Dortmund came out of that with a clean sheet and won 2-0, and it puts them in a good position going into this game. But there's still a bit of work to do if Borussia Dortmund want to get that Champions League spot. And I think for Dortmund, getting a Champions League place is, it's the bare minimum, but it's absolutely essential that they get it in terms of the finances. Because Wolfsburg, they're just a place above Dortmund in that last UCL spot. There's 5 points separating them. So, like I said, it's a big game. Dortmund need to win this one to bring it to within 2 points. But win for Wolfsburg sees that widen to 8 points. So, I think the odd term is a 6-pointer, isn't it? But it's just a huge game. And I'm looking at this one in terms of a goals angle, potentially both teams to score as well. But looking at the other stats as well, Wolfsburg have lost just once at home all season. They've won 9, drawn 4, and that was a 3-2 loss at home to Bayern Munich last time out. So every other side apart from Bayern, they've managed to pick something up against. They've also scored in 11 out of 14 home games, and they've scored in 25 out of 29 this season overall. They've seen at least a card in 11 out of 14 home games this season. But opponents visiting Wolfsburg as well have seen at least a card on 11 out of 14 occasions. But Dortmund have won just 6 out of 14 away games this season, which I found surprising. Drawing 2 and losing 6 as well. And 13 of Edin Terzic's side's last 15 games has seen over 2.5. So, Dortmund games recently have seen an awful lot of goals. They've also scored in 14 out of 15 away games and 28 out of 29 games overall this season. I know where the net is, but as we know with Dortmund this season, defensively, they've just been quite suspect at times. But yeah, so my favourite pick for this one is over 2.5 goals and both teams to score. And it's landed in 4 of the 6 games that Dortmund have played against the current top 4. But yes, that's 1.83, and I feel it should probably be a little bit lower than that, considering how often it's landed. You could argue that it's a massive game at the top, so maybe things will be kept quite tight, but I just don't see it panning out that way. I see, Wolfsburg, they've got goals in their side. I think his Weghorst is their top scorer this season, and he's just on fire. Obviously, Dortmund, they've got goals all over the park. You've got Haaland, obviously Reyna's started finding the net recently as well. I think Sancho's still missing for this one. But nevertheless, obviously, they've got probably Royce filling in for them. They've just got goals all over the park, and I do fancy a goal fest here. But I do see both teams finding the net. So for me, over 2.5 goals and both teams to score at 5 to 6 is still a little bit overpriced for me. So that'll be my play for this one. I would be potentially waiting. Obviously, we're doing this podcast obviously Thursday morning, and because of the markets, I kind of like that free kicks, and this goes with the Villa and West Brom game too. But those markets haven't been released as of yet. But I can potentially, if there's ones I like, you'll probably find them on my Twitter. But yeah, so initially Wolfsburg against Dortmund, over 2.5 goals and both teams to score.
Awesome stuff, George, mate. Terrific. Let's finish up with our best bets of the weekend. Nigel, would you like to go first, mate?
Just a couple of things I will say. Just as we've been on, the load of protesters have stormed Manchester United's training ground as well. So that's going to make that Yeah. So that's going to make that their game against Leeds now. So they've got hostility. So this idea of opposing these sides who are in there, it's not gone away, and the fans aren't happy. So, but I would probably my best bet, and the second thing I was going to say before I come on to my best bet is that I've blamed all the fans around the world in Asia, and I blamed everyone in America and pay-per-views. I never blamed the Latvians, so I've got to get them in. You've got to do with them as well. I've got to blame them. But I think. Yeah, I think the best bet would be Newcastle plus 1.5 against Liverpool.
Nigel, if I don't turn Sky Sports on now and see Joel Glazer running down through Salford, being chased by a load of Man United fans, I'm not going to be happy. I want to see that, like with Schalke at the weekend.
Yeah, but it's come out and said there was an incident with some protesters broke into the training ground. But I think if I was going to get the old 2.1 on Newcastle plus 1.5 against an under pressure Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool.
Nice, mate. And George, what are you going to go with, mate?
Yeah, my best pick's going to be Aston Villa to see over 1.5 team cards. Just the way West Brom are playing, I think there's a small chance that they can stay up, and as long as there's a chance, I think they'll fight it out. Villa looking a little bit dodgy as of late, and I think West Brom are well within a shout of getting something from this. So I think they'll test Villa, and I do see Villa picking up 2 cards. Stuart Atwell, referee as well. He's been my favourite referee in the Premier League for cards this season. So yeah, best bet of the weekend, Aston Villa over 1.5 team cards.
All right, you can find these gentlemen on Twitter at CGeorgeGamble and at Seeley_Nigel. Also go and check out Nigel's website, premiersportsplays.com, for all the tips you need, and also George's YouTube channel, George Gamble, for any card betting tips that you're interested in basically every weekend or whenever he decides to put up a video. Quiz question, gents. Which name has the League Cup not been known as? And I can give you 4 options here. The Milk Cup, Coca-Cola Cup, Rumbelows Cup, or Pepsi Cup. Which has the Carabao Cup not been referred to previously?
Pepsi Cup.
What are you thinking, George?
Well, I mean, I know it was the Milk Cup. I know it was that one. Coca-Cola Cup, yeah. And then the one that you said was far too specific. So you're not going to make that one up. So it's going to be the last one.
Don't you know what Rumbelows was?
I don't know
what Rumbelows was.
Rumbelows was a place you can go and get your TVs, electrical shop. Rumbelows.
How old are you, mate?
86.
And the rest.
Rumbelows Cup. Yeah, Rumbelows Cup was yeah.
No wonder you're feeling crook from your COVID jab, mate. Jesus.
I know. My missus works as a dentist. She works in a dentist, and people say to me like she had 2 jabs really quickly. So, but I'm actually 48. So, but people say they said to me, I said, Paula's had both of her jabs. So how come she's got both of her jabs? I go, oh, she's 88.
Oh, you're a funny man. All right. Well, I guess, you all guessed it. It was the Pepsi Cup that that the Carabao.
The Rumbelows would have been quite good because you made the question like we're going Rumbelows. You gave the idea that you never made that up. You know that you actually read it, didn't know what. If you made it up, you would have made us pronounce it. So that was the one that George would have gone for. I felt.
I didn't make up any of these options, to be honest. I just copied it off a website. So,
Alex, you've got to sell me, mate. You've got to sell me.
Yeah. No, I'm not a quizmaster. I think we figured that out over the years that I'm not a quizmaster. So, all right, that's all for this week, gents. Thank you very much for coming on board and doing this again. You've given out some great insight once again. Next podcast coming out for everyone will be on Sunday. But if you're on YouTube, we still haven't released our UFC betting preview. So that'll come out in a couple of hours. And then on Sunday will be episode 100, which is quite exciting. We've made it to 100 episodes, and that will be an interview I did with the director of TopSport, which is a sharp bookmaker over here in Australia. So if you're interested to hear about how a sharp bookie runs and the ins and outs of that, then tune in. But thanks for listening. Do a quick rate and review if you can, guys. And those on YouTube at the moment, please give us a like and subscribe. That would be superb. And if you're looking to implement some of the strategies we talked about today, especially the value betting ones, start your value betting journey and start a free week trial at TradeMate Sports. Gentlemen, we're going to take a 2-week sabbatical now as I'm going on holiday. And yeah, I guess we'll see you probably to preview the last couple of rounds of the regular season.
Okay, mate. Enjoy your break. Where are you off to? Anywhere nice?
No, I'm staying right here, mate. But the Gold Coast it's basically a holiday, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it sounds like Blackpool.
Mate, can you send me a photo of Blackpool and I'll send you a photo of the Goldie, mate? Don't you dare.
Just look at watch any film.
Carry on.
Any post-apocalyptic film and that is Blackpool.
Watch Carry On Camping.
What?
Carry on up the Khyber. Watch that.
Oh my god.
Put Blackpool and then put donkeys on Blackpool Beach. Hey, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing.
I'll show you a photo of my hometown, mate, and you tell me if it looks like Blackpool. You ready? Do you think this looks like Blackpool?
You've got a tower like Blackpool.
Yeah, they have.
Very similar to Blackpool. Now you put Blackpool up. Put Blackpool on donkeys on Blackpool Beach. It's very similar.
No, you've walked right into that. That's actually Riga in Latvia.
Oh, I've just seen it. That's not right. I've never been there. I'm not allowed in the country. I wouldn't recognise it. I've been barred.
Since we're live, we might as well have some fun and show everyone what Blackpool.
Put Blackpool. Put
Blackpool.
Donkeys.
Oh, it's got a
donkeys
beach.
on the beach. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's got a beach.
Brilliant. I went to look at that. Living the dream.
It's even glowing.
Oh shit! Sorry, I've highlighted myself.
There's Blackpool. But yeah, look at it. Bouncy castle for the kids. Look, everything. It's got the lot.
Yeah.
Living the dream. I went to Blackpool and for a stag do about 6-7 years ago, and the biggest queue at Blackpool was in Greg's. Very big queue outside Greg's. So I remember queuing up for ages to get a pasty. And then the other thing about Blackpool, I went into a bar about 12:30. It was absolutely packed with old age pensioners at 12:30 in the afternoon. And a magician was sawing a woman in half. And everyone was pissed. 12:30. That's Blackpool for you. Living the dream.
Well, here's my hometown, gents. If you're interested, here's the lovely Gold Coast. So there you go. That's where it's all happening.
What's the actual town? What's the actual town there?
Oh, it's surface. This is Surface Paradise. How to Surface Paradise?
Listen, you don't know what you're on about. Get yourself down Blackstall. Great Yarmouth. See proper coastal resorts.
Can you just imagine me walking up and down this beach every morning, mate?
Somewhere there is definitely a sign that just says twinned with Blackpool. It looks basically the same.
Listen, Blackpool's proper. Get yourself down there. You won't know what you're living. Right. Anyway,
People
I'll let you go.
Listening to this, it's amazing.
It's holiday tips. Come to Blackpool.
All right. See you guys later.
Take care. See you later. All the best.
It is a scam when you don't.
That was the wrong video. This is supposed